Do I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, you sound great. All right, and then I am going to make sure this is running smoothly.
I got it up too, so.
Perfect. Make sure this is running smoothly.
I got it up too.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Comics on the Mode. I'm your host, Russ, and as always, Landon is the other man on the job in the building.
What's up, guys?
On the screen.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Good to be back.
It's another Monday evening. Neither of us have done a very good job of posting this out to anything right now. So
no, I did not let anybody know about this.
So once one of us starts getting talking, the other one is going to go and post to social medias.
I should warn you, I'm not very good at multitasking. I can only do one thing at a time.
That's okay.
So
That's okay.
It's only podcasting or social media. I can't do both.
Okay. All right. Well, then I will be posting to social media to get some of you guys to come in here.
Okay. Okay. I did some tweeting this weekend, though.
Yeah, we did a lot of tweeting this weekend.
We're active on
Sunday was Batman Day. Day. I decided to piss off a bunch of people with my take on Batman. So that was fun.
So good. Love starting fires on Twitter.
Which was fun. I pissed off a lot of people.
Russ's personal Twitter, though.
I pissed off a lot of actually, yeah. So what I've been doing is shame on me, but I've been commenting on people's stuff because I was like, you know what, I want to bring all the heat on me. It's fine, let's go. And then I've just been retweeting some of the stuff with the Comics on the Mode Twitter. So sorry, guys. But we got a jam-packed episode today. Landon did
we got some things to talk about.
Landon did a great job in getting the whole little sheet together.
The sheety.
The little piece,
sheety.
Little piece of paper that has all the fun stuff on it.
What was the old Word document little avatar thing? It was called Clippy, right? Clippy. So ours is sheety.
We are completely unhinged today, folks.
Hey,
as you can hear, you know what?
New era.
It's episode 2 of the new era. I'm sorry you have to watch this in 720p, folks. We are still trying to figure out how to get actual quality because neither of us have full-blown streaming full-blown computers.
This is my webcam on my Mac. So
yeah, I'm using my MacBook. So I can't run like an OBS stream and it not be laggy and all of that fun stuff. And to pay for it, it's like $50 a month with any of the streaming services. So we're just not there yet.
It's all good. We got the passion. I think that's
one of the things that's true. And the other cool thing is, if you heard, I was able to figure out how to put the our actual intro and outro music.
Yeah, that was new. That was cool.
So that was fun. That's fun. But let's get on to some news. First off, just kind of, this is the segment. We're trying to figure out names, folks. We are very disorganized.
We'll come up with some names.
We are organizationally. We are organized chaos, folks. We are organized chaos. But things we did this week,
dude.
I read a couple comics.
There's a title. Hold on, Russ. There's a title right there. Organized chaos. This is where all the stuff that we don't really have any place for. It's just a bunch of random small things. This is the organized chaos.
I feel like organized chaos is both. Yes, organized chaos is both.
It's pretty good.
The random news that we have, and the it's like the random news that we get every week and what we did this week. That's our organized chaos. It's like all shiply fluffed into one thing. We watched a little bit of TV.
Right.
I caught the first episode. So AMC has been doing some split off events of Walking Dead. One of them being Daryl Dixon. Now, two things about this. This is the second. This is technically this is the third split off show, because you had Fear the Walking Dead, which was initially a prequel, and then it ended up coming in line with the show at the same time, just in a different spot of the United States. Then last year, or a couple months ago, we had Dead City, which took Maggie and Negan, Manhattan. To a lot of mixed reviews. The problem that I've heard from some people who have already watched that show, and I've watched bits and pieces of it, is that show felt very small, very staged. Like, it's
small time.
You can't. One of the cool things about Manhattan in New York, it's a very iconic city, and they just didn't do a good job. It just looks like a lot of green.
More than likely, it's probably a COVID production too, I would imagine.
Oh, also true. That's probably one of the cases.
Like, there's probably a reason why things feel a little bit different with that show. True. But you have Maggie and Negan, arguably two of the most famous, Walking Dead characters there is. Put them in a series, that should be a goldmine. So I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it. I'm personally not watching it or any of these really, because I haven't been caught up on Walking Dead for a while now.
Yeah, you have to understand.
This could be a perfect jumping off point.
You have to kind of.
I get it. Daryl's in London.
Well, no,
split up.
So then, I wasn't very excited about this Daryl show. I was like, okay, well, if it's anything like Dead City, we're gonna have some issues with this, and it's not gonna feel right. What I did find out, but just before I started watching it, was that Norman Reedus is one of the producers on this show, and one of the things that he made very clear in the very beginning was that he wanted as much of the set to be as much of the show to be shot on location, and so this show takes place
right away. Stark contrast between the two. Let's shoot practical. Let's literally,
you can tell instantly. Now, granted,
I'm looking at the trailer.
He's in Paris or he's in France, and it's it's pretty standard. There's no like big. We haven't seen Paris yet. Essentially, we know we're going to see Paris at some point, but it's a small town, so it's really easy for them to do that location, and do the locations without spending a lot of money, because you could just find any small town. It is shot in Europe.
That's cool. I like that.
My initial thoughts of the show, very good. I'm very interested to see. It's very much a Reedus is shipwrecked because he left and he was searching for something, but all he found was trouble, is what he says. But it also has a very
Rick, right? What would he be searching for?
Well, yes. So that's initially what you thought, but like Rick is in America, so I don't know how he got to France. Like, that's the thing. There was also at the end of Walking Dead, there was initially that he was headed somewhere to try to see, because there was rumors that somebody knew where the zombie virus originated. So I don't know if that plays into it. They haven't said anything about it. But he runs into a group of nuns. Really cool. Again, it's Europe, so they're in a monastery, and they're in like an old monastery. So it's really cool. Definitely want to stick with it, but that's really my initial thoughts on that. Norman Reedus is
watched.
I just watched the first
episode.
Because they dropped it on YouTube for free.
I'm kind of thinking like this is a series that's streaming like One Piece is, but this is still AMC.
No, this is still AMC. They're doing it through.
They
AMC
drop all of it, or is it week by week?
No, it's week by week. They're dropping it on AMC Plus, and then they're also dropping it on AMC. So if you still have cable and have AMC, you'll be able to watch this on Sunday nights. I do not have either of those, so I may be having to pirate this every week to watch it. Don't come after me.
Need I remind you, Russ, we are live.
Yeah, or
to me, currently me watching, but this guy.
Yeah, it's
it
is.
No, I think week to week is still a valid way to watch a lot of these shows. Like, I haven't been plugged into The Walking Dead for a hot minute, so I was thinking that this was just something that was dumped on AMC Plus or streaming or whatever. No, that's cool. I like that. It gives you something to look forward to week to week.
I love the week to
like
week.
The Ahsoka thing. And
I love the week to
makes
week.
It event television.
Format. I don't like the.
I do too. I think it's fun still. Well, it's helpful because like a series like One Piece, which if everything was not just available to me now, I probably wouldn't give this a second thought. But I did check out episode 2. I came back to it because that first one hooked me.
Nice.
Pretty good. If you recall last week's episode, me and Russ were like, I was hooked by the first one, and Russ, you were hooked by the second one. And yep. I totally get why. Because that second episode of One Piece rocks so hard. I had a blast with episode 2. I forget what the title was called, but the big kicker of this episode was it introduced one of the anime antagonists. One of those guys that is after them a lot, I guess. My cat just ran into the desk. Are you okay? Oh my gosh, buddy, why? Bumpy the Clown. I almost forgot what I was saying. He just ran into the desk.
Buggy the Clown, baby.
Buggy the Clown. Oh my gosh, what a character! What a villain! What a cool ability! What a weird setting. These clowns in this circus, still holding on to the pirate theme of everything that One Piece loves. Like, it is all pirate theme, but on top of the pirates, you have the clown aesthetic with these guys, and it's just a riot. I still love the main 3 protagonists, and seeing Luffy talk with Buggy and how Buggy interacts with him, and they both have these ridiculous powers. I had so much fun with episode 2, and I did catch a little bit of episode 3 before I stopped and turned the TV off, and I was happy to see Buggy in the first 10 minutes of episode 3. So I'm hoping he becomes like a whole thing. Like, it's not just a one and done, because I enjoyed the crap out of that that character. So much fun.
Yeah, cool. That's what I said is like, episode 2 was really the thing that caught my eye, and that's what really was like, oh, okay, I really want to do this more. I want to watch this more. I haven't watched anything since it, because this weekend I finished. I was really focused on finishing Ted Lasso, so I got through that.
Ted Lasso, maybe a little Starfield here and there.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. But earlier I watched. I was watching it right before the show. So episode 3 is interesting. I like the show. I do. I still think
Luffy is this is a total surprise for me.
It is fun.
He is a bit annoying. Now that you kind of said something about it, I was watching episode 2, kind of like, now knowing my co-host's thoughts about the show, I was like, no, I can see that. I just kind of let it all slide because it's so ridiculous. But yeah, Buggy was great. I still like our 3 protagonists, and we found out like a big thing in this episode was his kryptonite basically is seawater. So that was cool. Apparently both of them. So if you drink from the fruit that gives them the abilities, you get, seawater is your kryptonite, which is funny because he's on the seas and he wants to be this pirate. It's like
he's a pirate who's afraid of water.
Surrounded by your weakness all the time. And I thought that was cool. And I love the backstory with him and Shanks. Really touching scene where Shanks kind of saves boy Luffy from a I don't know, Ruffian, some pirate. Very, very cool. A lot more depth than I was ever thinking that would come out of a One Piece, like an anime live action adaptation. Who would have thought? But we're here, and I enjoy it. I'm definitely gonna watch a little bit more. I think a little bit more of that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that for sure. The other kind of what else is there here? Oh yeah, so you
mentioned Batman Day.
That's right. Well, let's
talk about.
Yeah, let's do Adam Eve, and
we push Adam Eve like all the time.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And Invincible is coming out soon, so I did like Adam Eve. I actually loved it. I actually thought it was incredible. I'm underplaying my thoughts on this. This was incredible. This was just spectacular animated. It was almost like a film. It was basically a short film. I think it was like an hour, maybe an hour and 20. It was a nice, quick watch. It got me up to speed on the backstory of this character. Obviously, the Invincible animated series was incredible, and Adam Eve was a huge part of that because it's a very powerful hero. It's a love interest for Mark, or their friendships, or something. Mm-hmm. The dynamic between the characters in Adam Eve is always interesting to watch because she has thoughts. She's very opinionated. She comes from like, I don't want to say broken home, but there is some shades of abuse there. And we see that in the Adam Eve special, like why her parents resent her, why they're cautious of her abilities. And that was heartbreaking, but also like it helps you understand this character, and it honestly elevates her more because here's all these hardships that she faces at home, and yet she's still willing to be selfless and put herself out there for the betterment of society, and she loves the superhero thing. And we see her at her, you know, her what's the, I don't know, like her innocent superhero, her early superheroing days when she's stopping muggings and things and just enjoying it. But then later on, you get this massive fight, and there's a lot of emotional baggage for Adam Eve, and it just takes a lot out of her, and she gets hurt and damaged, and like she starts realizing what this lifestyle is like and what all comes with this, the baggage. A lot of depth, a lot of great character development. I think, Adam Eve is going to be a standout in Invincible season 2. I can't wait for that series, and on top of so many great things that Invincible had to offer, like now we have this very fleshed out, incredible Adam Eve character. I mean, just awesome. When did you check this out? Because I'm late to the game.
You're late to the game.
I'm so late. But happy to be at the party, so there's that.
I checked this out right when it came out. It was Comic-Con, I want to say, that they dropped it, and so that's when I checked it out. I liked it. I really do. I thought it was a great. Great addition.
And the animation too is also improved, I think.
Well, animation looks amazing. I think that is one thing about the comic too. As the comic goes on, it gets better and better. So like that's always a fun. It's nice to see that like the animation is trying to play the same role. Adam Eve in season 1, and when we first meet her in the comic and in the show, we don't know very much about her. We don't. She doesn't give away a lot. Honestly, if I remember correctly, this was created by Kirkman. Because he never delved into her origin in the main Invincible series.
Oh, awesome. Love that.
So that's pretty cool.
Maybe she got more notoriety from the animated show, and that kind of kickstarted them to make this. That's cool either way. And obviously Robert Kirkman, a big hand.
Love that of
The Walking Dead.
Love that the creator of this comic is the main showrunner for this show. Like that's awesome. I love that.
And he's super involved.
That's the case. And he's even said that like he brought Invincible to a close in the comic, but he has said there's so much. There's a lot of cool stuff too with Invincible in the comic. There's large time jumps, like at the very last arc, very last volume, there's at one point where it jumps from the Invincible that we know to like 10 years later.
Oh wow.
And shows him 10 years after. So like there's a lot of open space that he can create new stories that he has never done in the comics, all sorts of fun stuff. Really cool opportunities to really flesh everything out. I love the series. Adam Eve is a great one-off that they added. I hope they do more of that moving forward.
It kind of got me itching for like I I gotta say it, like a little Guardians of the Globe animated series. Let's see some of their adventures before spoiler. They're eviscerated by Omni-Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. True.
We got a little bit of them in the beginning as well. That kind of that conflict with it's like the Kirkman Universe Serpent Society. That's not what they're called.
Oh yeah. I know what
they're
you're talking
fighting
about.
The Guardians and everything, and that is why Adam Eve is kind of brought about, because this facility is under attack, and just the fun banter that the Guardians have, and it's the kind of their early days as well. Omni-Man is still there, but knowing what we know about that character, like, it just puts everything into context. And I think a Guardians of the Globe animated series like that would be pretty cool, especially if they're doing more stuff like this. Just give us a special about the Guardians or Omni-Man or something and have them be in it. Because it's funny to hear the Walking Dead actors voice those roles as well. Kirkman, obviously, for a while was a showrunner on Walking Dead. Like, he had them come back and voice the Guardians, which
he wrote the comic.
He wrote the comic. Yeah, he's deeply involved in all this stuff, and I like the synergy that the two series they have. What else? I think that was pretty much it. The fight scenes, incredible. Just the kind of the animation and how it lends to just this grotesque, the enemies that she fights on the bridge and in the city. And this is also one of the last roles that we'll hear from the great Lance Reddick, who passed away, I think, earlier this year. But he voiced the villain of this piece, and kind of an emotional foil for Eve, and that was cool to see as well. Very dastardly government figure. That's all I have on Adam Eve. Great little special. Love that. Hope to see more.
But yeah, so Sunday yesterday was Batman Day, and so there was a lot going on this weekend that was Batman related. You had Fortnite bring all the Batman skins back for them.
That's cool. That's a nice little touch.
Yeah, you had theaters re-releasing Batman films, but one of the things that is always fun during Batman Day on Twitter is everybody loves to talk about, hey, who's your favorite Batman, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And anybody who has listened to this show for a minute knows that I have some very controversial takes on Batman, mainly the fact that the only reason you all love Christian Bale as Batman is because he is in an amazing film. That is the only reason. I need you all to hear that.
Are these the fires that you were starting on Twitter? Were you saying Bale is a bad Batman? Oh, no.
I just was saying I just wasn't putting him as my favorite Batman.
He's a different Batman.
Christian Bale is not a good Batman. He's a decent Bruce Wayne, but he sucks as Batman because he doesn't know how to fight. All of his fighting style, and I've explained this multiple times to multiple people. Everybody hates me at this point about this. His whole fighting style is here. As somebody who has taken martial arts and karate growing up, it is a lot of this.
It's like
you have no power when it's all here. It's weird. And that is forever why Ben Affleck is my number one favorite Batman right now. And it'll probably be one more film, and Pattinson will be my favorite Batman. But I was starting fires on Twitter. Dance, puppet, dance.
You probably had the Nolan fanboys up in arms about this one.
I was just like, everybody does.
I gotta hop on Twitter and see what some of those tweets are about. I might have some thoughts.
So I was starting fires. Somebody said the best Joker, and my take has always been that Joaquin Phoenix is probably is going to be the best Joker, but in the Joker film, he was only the Joker for the last 10 minutes. When he became the Joker once he killed Murray. That is when he became the Joker, and it's that up until the end of the film
on air. Then
he's the Joker.
The Joker wouldn't have it any other way.
Heath Ledger will and always will be the icon. I have always said about the Joker,
that performance.
I love that any of the Jokers all of the Jokers are so different. I love that. I think David Ayer's Joker, the Leto Joker, would have been amazing if they would have given David Ayer the opportunity to actually make the film that he was going to make.
That's a very important would have.
Yes,
it's
and there's
the most
a lot
important would have ever.
There's a lot
been great,
and it sucks because there's a lot of really kernels there that I'm like, yep,
I think so too.
So down, and then he doesn't do anything to where it's like, all right, well, I love Leto's performance though. So that's where I think I'm very different from a lot of people, is that people did not like how Leto performed the Joker. I love it. I thought it was great. I loved that gangster. It was a mix. It felt like a mix of Nicholson and Ledger, where this was a gangster Joker, but it was also a very unhinged Joker. And I thought it was great. I thought the grills were cool. I thought the tattoos were dope. I thought his laugh was scary as hell. And Landon does not agree with me on this one.
Hey, you know what? I will say this. I agree that, man, Jared Leto had a lot of potential to be a great Joker. He just has that natural creepiness factor, which I think probably is key to playing a character like this. People are a little bit disturbed by the man, which that definitely brings something.
True.
I don't really jive with any of the design choices. The tattoos are a little much, although I like some of them. I think these tattoos specifically are a huge misfire, but that's neither here nor there. I think you could. I think you could. I'm not going to defend Jared Leto Joker on this. I think with all the Batman and all the Jokers, they're all so different, and there's a lot of great things to love, and there's a lot of different angles that you could come at all of them in terms of like analyzing what they are to the Batman mythos, how similar they are to the comic book style, where they rank in terms of like, you know, do you prefer Nolan's more realistic take, or do you prefer the Ben Affleck more comic book mythological creature of the night type approach, this big bulky guy, or the thinner, you know, stealth oriented Bale Batman? You know, there's so many great elements, and all of them are Batman. I think where Nolan plays to the strengths of Batman are in the symbolism of the character, right? What this icon means to the city, and how anybody can be Batman, and how one man can make a difference, and what's the legacy that comes with that, especially, you know, when
everybody can be Batman. Everybody can be Batman. Bruce Wayne is a billionaire. That's the only reason he can be Batman.
A hero can be anyone.
No. Okay. All right. Fine.
Even as simple as putting a small coat on a boy's shoulders, right? The end of the Dark Knight Rises. That was Nolan's whole theme, was like, anybody can be a hero. Nobody can just be Batman. Let's make that clear. But anybody can be a hero, and what this means to the city and the symbolism and all of that. That's what Nolan really goes for, and he just nails that. But look, the feel, the stature, the physicality of the Batman, that is something that Affleck is definitely holding in spades. I mean, that warehouse fight scene alone is just probably the best Batman media we've ever gotten.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot to love in all of it.
And that's the thing. That's why, you know, that's still why I also think, you know, Ben Affleck was a great Bruce Wayne. I really do.
That's pretty good.
You know, Pattinson is not Bruce Wayne in the Batman. He's not. He is a scared. He is a
shell.
He is Batman with a skin suit named Bruce Wayne. This is a little like the Batman. It's very clear that up until he realizes that he needs to be something more, when he jumps and grabs and is electrocuted, and when he's trying to save the people, up until that moment, he is vengeance. That's the only his entire being, his entire soul has been corrupted and focused on one moment, and that is that moment in Crime Alley when his parents died. And that is nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. Yeah. He is still there. And in the moment when he jumps and finally realizes that he has to be more for this city, because all of a sudden he's realizing that this Riddler has created this mob army of people who want vengeance. He realizes, oh, I have to be more for this city. I have to be something different, something more. And that is when he finally realizes that he has to be a hero. And that's why I think in Batman 2, Batman Part 2, which actually we got Reeves's film, which we got news on Reeves's film too, by the way.
Nice.
So I'll incorporate that into this little ranch.
Is it about Clayface?
No, it's about Robin.
Oh, interesting.
Matt Reeves has came out and said this weekend or whatever that it's been reported that Matt Reeves is looking for a 13-year-old boy to play Robin. So to that point, it fits perfectly in from Batman 1 that he is focusing on trying to be a hero, which I also believe is where we're going to see him put on the Bruce Wayne persona and actually be the playboy billionaire. I think that's where
clean up his act a little bit and really put
he's
on
never
the
going to
Wayne
be
mask.
Exactly. I think that's where we're going to really see it. And then if this is true with an introduction of Robin as a kid, so we're going to see, and especially if he's 13-year-olds, this is going to be Dick Grayson. Like, there's no way this is not going to be Dick Grayson.
Right.
Especially with just the metaphor between the two of his parents dying the way they do. I think that's going to also be a Bruce Wayne realizes that he needs to try to help this boy in a way that he was never able, in a way that Alfred was never able to help him because he never understood the trauma that Bruce went through. Whereas Bruce can come alongside Dick and be like, "Hey, I understand this trauma. I'm also going to be I'm going to be a shitty stepdad. Excuse my language. I'm going to be a terrible."
It's true though.
I'm going to be
he really doesn't have it together.
I'm going to be a terrible stepdad, but I'm going to try. And I think that's going to be really cool. It's also going to be a very cool dichotomy to when we see James Gunn's Brave and the Bold, which is going to have Bruce actually being the real father to Damian Wayne as Robin in that film. So that's my little.
You know what? I think one of the best ways to sum up the Batman and Robin relationship was heard, in my opinion, in Young Justice. So there's an episode of Young Justice where the Justice League is deciding on new members, right? There's been a time skip. Those early Young Justice members. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And the next hero that's up for contention as a member of the Justice League is Robin or Wonder Woman calls out Batman for training a hero at such a young age or something. And Batman's like, Robin needed to put the people that murdered his family to justice. And Wonder Woman is like, oh, so he'd grow up to be like you. And Batman goes, no, so that he wouldn't. That is just streamlining the Batman relationship to Robin. That's the
thing about Dick Grayson in the comics too, is he is what Batman was always supposed to be. He is the best version of what Batman can be, because he is not Bruce, who can't let go of his parents' death. He is someone who can, who moved past the anger and the vengeance and said, you know what, I am going to be a hero and protect. Actually, craziest thing happened today. Just so you know, I reposted one of my favorite panels, an amazing book I've talked about on this show, Nightwing, right now, written by Tom Taylor. Absolutely phenomenal. And they have had bits
the issue 100
of their whole of Batman and Nightwing coming together and really like talking to each other and really talking through their relationship. And like Batman essentially said he's sorry, and Nightwing is like, dude, I forgive you. Like, you prepared me so well, and like I don't hold anything against you. So Tom Taylor posted that comic panel on his Twitter, and I reposted it, and I said something to the effect of the best Batman adjacent arc / comic out there right now. He liked my freaking tweet. Tom Taylor
did?
Yeah, Tom Taylor liked my tweet. That was pretty dope.
All right.
That was pretty baller. But we got to move on.
Follow Comics on the Note.
Yeah, right. We got to move on because we could talk Batman forever and ever and ever and ever and ever away.
Well, it just so happens that he was in the news this weekend, and kind of people were celebrating him around the country. So it's timely. And seeing the Dark Knight in theaters, by the way.
Oh, incredible. I bet that was amazing. I bet that was incredible. Amazing. Last bit of news. We've had a lot of Spider-Man 2 Sony news. And kind of really interesting stuff. There was they kind of showed off the city. There it's not just Manhattan, and then Miles Spider-Man took place in Brooklyn. So this version of Spider-Man is going to be Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens. So big map, lots of stuff. I'm excited because my roommate upstairs has a PlayStation 5 and is letting me play it when it comes out.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm very excited about that. But then
is it a crime? Is it a crime to pick up Spider-Man 2 having never played Spider-Man 1? Am I going to be ostracized by society for doing that? Or?
No, I don't think so. Although I would pick up Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man 1's campaign made me cry.
You know,
I wasn't even playing it. I wasn't playing it. I watched it. I watched the whole playthrough.
Yeah.
I was bawling.
I watched quite a bit of the story campaign. I've tried to preserve it all these years because it's been out, quite a few years at this point. Yeah, I've tried to preserve the.
Do you know what happens at the end?
I do. I do know what happens at the end, and I know his relationship to Otto and all that stuff.
I cried with Aunt May's death. I cried.
It's really hard.
It was so hard.
It's hard. It's a good. It's fantastically done, though. I mean, my gosh, wow,
so good.
And I didn't even play the game, and I was we're getting all emotional about it. That's
hilarious enough. Speaking of exclusives, I was trolling people today on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen, which was
Russ on a Twitter hot streak, just making
so much fun
left and right.
I'm trying to get better at Twitter, and so that's why I'm just starting to comment on everybody's stuff.
It's good practice.
Yeah. So Microsoft, a bunch of documents came out from Microsoft because of their ongoing, hey, we're trying to buy Activision. Please let us buy Activision. We're not a monopoly. Just let us buy Activision, please.
Just let us do this. It's fine.
For God's sakes, just let us do it, please.
Just let us absorb your multi-million-dollar company. It's just fine.
So
nobody will notice.
So some documents came out, and so big news was that Starfield is an Xbox exclusive, and everybody got all pissed off about that. Literally, like at the minute the game came out, everybody was review bombing it, and it's just not a cool situation. PlayStation fans love to crap all over anything that is not available on their console. And so we found out today through some documents that Elder Scrolls 6, the long-awaited sequel to Skyrim and Elder Scrolls 5, is going to be a Microsoft Xbox exclusive, baby. And the internet just melted. The
gaming community is just up in flames right now.
Yeah,
I'd
because
wager on that one.
PlayStation fans hate it. They are so mad that this is happening. And I went on Twitter and I said something to the effect of, I was like, it's funny that PlayStation fans will get all bent out of shape when they don't get a game on their platform. But we Xbox fans, as somebody who has played Xbox for the last 23 years of my life, we Xbox fans have completely gotten used to the fact that anything that is made by a Sony studio is not going to be playable on Xbox. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, Uncharted. I'm looking at
God of War.
Last of Us. I'm looking at you, God of War.
Spider-Man.
I'm looking at you, Spider-Man. I'm looking at you, Wolverine. I'm looking at you, Final Fantasy. I'm looking at you.
Let the Xbox players eat.
Gosh.
Something.
But every PlayStation fan on the planet is all flipped out today, and the amount of people in my responses and comments telling me that Starfield, I've heard that Starfield has worse reviews than good reviews, and that's from players themselves, not just reviewers. And we don't really care if Starfield's there. I'm like, sure you do. Sure you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just keep telling yourself that.
Just keep smiling through the pain.
Just keep telling yourself that. Because we all believe you. We can tell.
Yeah.
And it is honestly, it is the funniest thing. And I made another tweet somewhere else where I was like, you know what? Like it's funny that a year ago, because everything was going cross-platform, a year ago we were talking about the end of the console wars. And then Xbox started pulling certain titles and being like, hey, we're going to make these exclusive. And all of a sudden, the console wars just started up again. And honestly, I don't care. I get that PlayStation has games. Like, that's fine. I don't know why. It's seeing my hand movements and it's zooming in.
It knows when it needs to do a dramatic push in. It just
PlayStation has always had better narrative games, and you know what? At some point, I will buy a PlayStation. But it's like,
that's why I made the switch.
This drives the console wars drives capitalism, folks. The law of supply and demand. That's a good thing in my book. And you know what? At the end of the day, fine.
Oh, yeah.
Because honestly, at this point, the coolest thing about the day we live in now is that the biggest things that are cross-platform are multiplayer games. Call of Duty, Fortnite are both cross-platform where you can play with your friends that have those other consoles. At the end of the day, that's what matters, because that's what has always split the community in the worst way possible. And so being able to play with your friends that are on a different console on a multiplayer game, because that's what you do. You play with friends. That's what matters. These consoles can have their exclusives. That's fine. If you don't want exclusives, buy a PC. Because Sony puts out all of these games like a year and a half after the fact on PC. So you could be able to play them on PC if you wanted to. Right. And then all of Microsoft's games are on PC because Microsoft is a PC company. So
that's what
if you're that mad, buy a PC. But anyways, that's my rant. I pissed off a lot of people today, and it was a joy. It was an absolute joy to piss off so many PlayStation players today.
Yeah. That's fun. Making people mad. I made the switch to the PS5 earlier this year, and I couldn't be happier with it. You know, like I played God of War.
You also don't play multiplayer games.
No, I don't. So I'm probably the last person that should have an opinion on the console wars.
No, but to that point, it's much easier to make a switch to a platform when you don't play multiplayer games, because that's the only reason I've stuck
certainly.
with Xbox
I'm
for so long.
I am a single solo campaign story player.
And so in that case, it makes sense.
I play video games because I'm playing a movie. I want to be immersed in story, and unfortunately, right now, from my perspective, Sony, the PS5, the exclusives over there, man, nobody's really doing it like them.
That's true.
God of War was incredible. You know, they got the Spider-Man games, and that's incredible. The one thing that I was holding on to Microsoft for was the Halo games, and Infinite kind of just came and went.
Infinite just was like, nobody cares about Halo anymore, which is sad.
Certainly.
But we had a interesting trailer pop up. We talked about a little bit last week because we got the teaser, but on Thursday we got the trailer, and again I pissed off a couple people on Twitter because I essentially I'll read this tweet because I thought it was really funny that people got all
there's like a surprising amount of discourse around this trailer online, which is weird. Like why does anybody really have a stance about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom in the first place?
So one of the guys that I follow on Twitter was like, which comic book movie are you most excited for? And he said The Marvels and Aquaman Lost Kingdom. And I was like, I was like, Captain Marvel is one of the worst Marvel movies. Brie Larson is so flavorless. It's outright boring. Aquaman has its flaws as a film, but was decent, along with the fact that Aquaman at least has the fact that its main character is having fun with the role. The trailer for Aquaman looks decent. Much more excited for that than the Marvels, because honestly, the Marvels again looks so boring to the fact that Brie Larson doesn't look like she is enjoying it at all. Like she looks bored.
What are you doing here, Brie?
Come on, she looks
help
bored.
us out.
So I love this. I really like this trailer.
Oh yeah, certainly. I really don't have any new thoughts on it. the still the one thing I'm looking forward to is Black Manta. That guy definitely belongs in a better movie. I'll say that. And it's not out yet. It's coming out in December. But
this could be good.
Why is Black Manta, like, his design, the actor playing him, all of that goes so astronomically hard, and then you got like the rest of it, which I just don't have any opinions on. I don't.
The rest of it was great. Dude, I love Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
Yes, I mean, I'm gonna be there either way.
I love Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
I do think he's great. Yeah,
I love the fact that they're giving him a kid, which is a really good storyline in the comics that they've done, that they did recently.
Aqua baby.
And so I love the fact that we saw very little Amber Heard in this trailer.
There's like one shot.
Yeah,
glorious.
And it's blurry. You don't even see her. It's just her punching glass.
And she's all upset and angry. That's like how
I love
how it's seething.
And I love understanding why Aquaman has to have a stealth suit, because that was always the biggest weird part of this movie that we got news about, is like getting shown this stealth suit and not understanding why he needed a stealth suit until this trailer shows, oh, he's actually using that stealth suit to go break his brother out of prison, which also I find hilarious that as the King of Atlantis, he's not allowed to check Orm out of prison. He has to break him out.
That's actually a fantastic point. The ruler of Atlantis can't go check out the prisoners just in his comfortable work attire,
exactly.
The classic green and orange. No, I gotta sneak in with my stealth suit.
I also think
the real answer is because WB needs to sell toys, but
also valid. But I also think it's really funny too that in this trailer he's like talking about how he's a wanderer and everything, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, but I finally did get a job," and then it's like, "But I'm the King of Atlantis."
But I hate this job.
It's like, why are you calling yourself being the King of Atlantis a job?
Well, I was like,
I got me a 9 to 5, baby.
He opens up. That's a good Jason Momoa impression. He opens up the trailer with like, for a long time, I didn't know what my purpose was. Now I'm a dad. I love that. Yeah. Now I'm the King of Atlantis. And now I'm a dad, and I love that. But then later on, he's like, I don't know. He's like telling Orm, like, I hate this job or something. It's like, make a fly, dude.
We've both talked about this, but
yes, it's stressful being a king, but like also, you the ruler of this underwater nation of millions. Like, it's pretty awesome, and you got powers. Like, I will say that the Orm
is gonna be dope. I think that dynamic was something that we saw in that later fight at the end of the first one. That was going to be so good.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for this. I'm weirdly excited for this movie.
I'm just excited for the Black Manta and Ocean Master stuff.
And Black Manta looks amazing. Ocean Master looks great. I think hopefully we give him some type of a suit so that he's not just chilling around looking like a bum.
Oh, dude.
Out, which
I hope there's like some big third act reveal where he gets his Ocean Master uniform back out.
Like
that
Aquaman
so
gives him the helmet back or whatever, because that would be sick. But honestly, I do also love the black. I love the idea of the black trident, because that was
that is pretty cool.
Specifically for the dichotomy between the first one, because the first one was the whole thing was finding Atlan's trident. And so now you're going up against like the dark opposite of Atlan's trident, and I think that's really cool.
Who we see?
I hope
we see King Atlan. That's pretty cool.
I hope this movie is good. Honestly, I'm not looking for this to be a great movie. I'm looking for this to be like Venom 1, where it's fun enough that I kind of look past all of the goofiness and just enjoy it, because that's what I did with the first one. Honestly, the first one wasn't terrible enough that I hated it.
Oh, I didn't hate it.
I'm not going to tell you it was a great movie. I thought it was a fun movie, but I enjoyed it, and I will rewatch it. I would rewatch that 10 times over than I would freaking Wonder Woman 2.
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel,
Captain Marvel,
Wonder
like
Woman.
a million times out of 10.
I'd rewatch. Aquaman 2 is like if it was a Marvel movie, it would be like
an Iron Man 2.
It would be like a 60%. Just a little bit over the 50% line. Like there's 50% of those movies that are meh, and there's a good.
Like, which Marvel movie I would compare it to, because like it's definitely not like in the
Ant-Man.
top tier Marvel films, like an Ant-Man or like
a Guardians of the Galaxy,
maybe like a Guardians 1 where they haven't quite. One is amazing, but like there's still an element of like silly, goofy humor that is fun, but also take it or leave it. I'm not comparing. Am I really comparing the Guardians trilogy to Aquaman right now?
Jeez. No, I would compare it to the Jake Gyllenhaal Spider-Man, No Way Home.
Oh yeah, like some of the Tom Holland Spider-Man film. Yeah.
That is
fun,
actually
but not great. Yeah.
That's probably my best. Like it is fun enough that I want to rewatch it, enough. But it's not like I know it's not an amazing movie, but it's good enough that I want to rewatch it. It's fun. I enjoy everybody in the roles. Like everybody, it's obvious that they're having fun with the role, so it makes me want to stay in it. I think,
or even like an Iron Man 3, which is not like amazing, but it's still pretty fun and memorable to watch. Like I think that's a pretty.
I loved Iron Man 3.
Somewhere in there with the Ant-Mans and the Spideys and the Iron Man.
I agree. Let's talk a little Ahsoka.
A little Ahsoka.
We want to try to get out of here in time. But we're gonna run a little over, folks. But it's okay. We'll talk a little Ahsoka, dude. We were both. So hilariously enough, I threw my back out on.
Oh my gosh! Did you really?
On Monday, and Tuesday, I still went to work. I was fine. It was semi, like it hurt a little bit, but it didn't hurt a ton. Wednesday though, I woke up and I like had no mobility of my leg. Like I had to go to the chiropractor. And get my spine readjusted. But it was really funny because I texted my boss and I was like, hey, like I'm not gonna be. Wow, that was.
I'm staying home to watch Ahsoka.
I was like, hey, I can't come into the office right now. I can't come into the office right now. Like I am in serious pain. And he ended up making a joke that he was like, honestly, I kind of thought you had gotten like too drunk from celebrating how good the Ahsoka show was. And so you were making up an excuse. I'm like, no, literally, I threw my back out. He was like, well, I can't. He was like, hilariously enough, I just had a really great thought that you threw your back out celebrating the Ahsoka episode.
It's all connected.
I was like, if there was an episode that I would have thrown my back out for, it was this. It would have been this one. It was amazing.
Throwing it out. From cheering so much.
Everybody's been spoiled at this point, folks. Like it's everybody. Like it is. Every scene is all over Twitter.
Yeah, there's already like fan cam edits and videos with Hayden Christensen back and everything.
Hayden Christensen back as Anakin was amazing. Biggest worry that I had going into this episode was the fact that the de-aging looked a little off in the last scene of episode 4. Episode 4, was it episode 4?
Yeah.
Episode 4, and I was afraid. But it really looked like they got rid of the de-aging in episode 5.
Yeah.
Like weirdly enough,
I didn't really notice it at all.
I didn't notice it
very
at
seamless.
all. It was very good. Hayden Christensen, like it's great to see that we're getting a renaissance for actors that got like absolutely just crapped all over for their roles. You get, Andrew Garfield got his moment in the light with Spider-Man, and now Hayden Christensen is back and got his light as Anakin, and it's amazing. The visuals, Dave Filoni just murdered the visuals, like murdered the visuals.
He's killed it, man.
There are 2 scenes particularly where Anakin, the first one is Anakin walking away and he's running out we get flashbacks, so we get Clone Wars version of Hayden
Wars.
Christensen as Anakin. He's in the armored version that Anakin wears in the Clone Wars. It's amazing. Yep. He's running away with the clone troopers, and all of a sudden it flashes, and all the clone troopers are gone, and he is Darth Vader.
Vader, baby.
And it's so amazing. First off, it's so amazing. First off, because there's so much, like, the fact that, like, the symbolism of Anakin had so many people around him, so many people in his corner, and the minute he became Darth Vader, he lost everyone.
Man, he had it all. Yeah,
was phenomenal. And then he's fighting Ahsoka, which we do not have time to get into dialogue and everything like that. That would have to be an entire 1 hour episode in and of itself. But the dialogue between him and Ahsoka as all of this is happening is so well done, so good. It's all Ahsoka's talking about how she is struggling with this idea that, like, she was trained to be a soldier, even though Jedi weren't supposed to be soldiers. They weren't supposed to be. They were supposed to be peacekeepers.
Right.
And so in a lot of ways, it's her going, I've lost my way because I don't know what I'm supposed to do. There are two sides of this Jedi thing that I thought I was supposed to be, but they're so disillusioned from each other that I don't know what to do. And Anakin is essentially by kind of going through his own fall and showing her what happened to him. It's essentially helping her rewrite that history of these two disillusioned ideas of being a Jedi. It's rewriting those two histories into something that she understands and realizing that it's pieces of both. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, like she's gleaming wisdom from all of the teachings, not just discounting this because my master turned to the dark side. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's kind of where you see. That's kind of see where you start seeing Anakin is, veering into the wrong, is because he's training her to be a warrior and, like, to fight and to kill and to die, and, like, in this war. We've got to, what is he? Yeah. He gives that line. He's like, we got to adapt to the times, Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of those testimonies, that's not what a Jedi is. And, like, you were getting at the heart of that, Russ, is like Anakin is teaching her kind of anti-Jedi,
because he's teaching what
he's teaching her to survive, but he's kind of imprinting on her his own feelings and thoughts. Like, being raised as a Jedi at that age and having to be torn from your mother and never see her again. And at this point, his mother's dead. And at this point, Anakin in the Clone Wars has got a lot of pent up anger. And unfortunately, I think that bleeds into a little bit of his thought process and how to train a Padawan, which, arguably he just was unprepared for right from the get-go. Because his relationship with Obi-Wan and Attack of the Clones is far from perfect, and in many ways you still see him learning as he takes Ahsoka under his wing as well. It's and all of that is fleshed out in the Clone Wars, and I loved seeing that Clone Wars imagery here. Any excuse to go back to the prequels.
They brought Battle of Mandalore in, which was really cool.
I had a very fun time watching this.
The scene that really kills it is so Anakin's, like, essentially force pushes Ahsoka through this cloud, and as he walks through the cloud, lightning strikes, and he's walking as Anakin, and as the lightning strikes, it, like, flashes Darth Vader and back, because he's Anakin this whole time with the red lightsaber. He's got the red eyes, and as he's fighting Ahsoka, and he says, "You lack conviction."
Conviction, yeah.
And at the very end, he disarms Ahsoka, but Ahsoka ends up disarming him, and she's holding the lightsaber up to Anakin. And I don't know if you noticed, but at that moment, Ahsoka's eyes are Sith red.
Yeah, they gave her some Sith eyes. I don't know if that was the blade of, like, catching in her eye, or if she embraced the dark side real quick.
In my interpretation, it's because she, in that moment, had the decision that she could embrace embrace death, right? And in that moment, then in the next moment, she goes, "I choose life," and that's that final. No, this is who I am. And in that
Anakin's
moment,
the lesson is to live or to die. Are you going to let the past consume you, and are you going to be racked with guilt and grief over not saving Anakin, or are you going to let this go and surrender to the will of the Force? And she definitely chose correctly, and a lot of incredible like imagery just presenting all of that to us, the audience. And there's it's up to interpretation a little bit too, because it's like, did she like fully embrace the dark side in that moment, and then just like Luke did in Return of the Jedi, choose not to? And that informs a lot of Ahsoka's character going forward.
There's a lot of interpretation in this episode, which I think is amazing. I love when you're able to like dissect and really dig into it. I think the other
the whole
part that I saw someone else bring up that I didn't even realize is that in this episode, Anakin finally has the power that Palpatine enticed him to the dark side because I'm saying this so poorly it's not even funny.
I saw that tweet. Yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
Anakin fell to the dark side because Palpatine, through persuasion and through kind of lying to him, told Anakin that he would give him the power to protect the ones he loved from death, essentially.
The ones he loved, yes. It was all about
that. And in that moment, that was Padme. That's why he fell, because that is. But in this moment, he saves Ahsoka from death through this whole interaction. And so in a way, he has come full circle and has gained the ability to save the ones he loved from death, in the same way that Palpatine had told him that he would give him the power to do so. Such a cool moment. What I will say is I've seen a lot of people being like, we need a live action Clone Wars. Please God, no, we do. No, because I don't want a movie and I don't want a show where they decide to de-age. I don't want it.
I don't want any de-aging. Just let the actors be themselves. We get it.
I have no problem Anakin coming back as a Force ghost more.
Right.
And just let Hayden Christensen play Anakin. Cool. Or here's an idea. Because you've already established the world between worlds.
Yeah.
A live action what if?
Live action what if?
Like what they do, like what they're doing in animation with Marvel. Let that be Star Wars' version, and then you can have Anakin be like, hey, what if Anakin stopped himself after the end of episode 3? Or hey, what if Anakin lived when Luke? Oh, that would be perfect. Hayden Christensen, what if Anakin lived at the end of episode 6? Hayden Christensen plays himself. And then we have that dude that has been playing the body double of Luke Skywalker play Luke Skywalker. Also,
Graham Hamilton, Max Lloyd Jones. There's two. I get their names confused, but also, there's somebody who's playing him now that looks exactly like him.
We should just remake episode 4, 5, and 6.
To your point about the What If series, thinking about like what the Marvel What If show is, it's every single episode has a narrator. And the Watcher. And the Watcher is this character who exists in the space that is adjacent but passive to everything going on within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right?
Yep.
I can think of no better character to substitute as a Watcher-esque type person guiding the audience through this what if chain of events than Anakin. In the world between worlds, which exists similar to the space that the Watcher is in, what if Anakin Skywalker or Qui-Gon or some semblance of Jedi characters. Maybe it changes depending on what the what if situation is, but like I like that idea of Skywalker showing us how things could have played out differently, maybe regrets, I turned to the dark side, but I wish I didn't, that kind of stuff. That could be cool.
At this point, what a dream scenario would be that they remake episodes 4, 5, and 6 with new actors, change the story a little bit, and have
very interesting decision.
Have Hayden Christensen play Darth Vader like all the way through.
You know what Star Wars really needs.
The only issue is this is Disney-owned Star Wars, and I do not want Disney wokeifying Star Wars any more than it already has. So keep your grimy paws off of it.
I was gonna say I don't know about the remaking 4, 5, and 6. I think you'd get a lot of people upset with that one. But I think a lot of Star Wars discourse could be solved with one very simple thing, and I think that's give us something with the original trilogy characters, whether that's an animated series or a game. Look at the old expanded universe material that's now Legends. Those adventures that Han, Luke, Leia, and the whole gang, Lando, Chewie, droids.
Even what's going on in Marvel Comics right now, like those stories that are going on in Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
All of those characters.
Yeah, they're ongoing, and we still have something with them. But like, we need those original heroes back because everybody loves them. Everybody knows who they are, and they've been missing for a while. And the people who are looking forward to seeing those characters back in Star Wars, they were not themselves. They were older, jaded versions, and we just need to see those characters back in their prime. We need to spend a little bit more time with them, and that could be a live-action series because
any excuse to rewrite the sequel trilogy is by all means an opportunity.
Yeah, but
screw Rey. Rey is one. Don't start this new series with Rey, please. For God's sakes, no.
I think there's an interesting story to be told anywhere, and you could, the Disney stuff is not going anywhere, so you might as well make the most of it and make it mean something by adding to it and giving it more context and fleshing it out. And I think a series or even a Fallen Order style video game series following Luke and his friends. Like I was saying about the expanded universe, a lot of those books are just the gang from the original trilogy, going out and rescuing Lando from his mining operation in the Outer Rim, or there's this extra galactic invaders are coming in. We got to get the heroes out there to deal with it. Like they were just doing these awesome adventures. We just don't really have anything like that anymore. We do have those heroes in the comic series, and they're
by the way,
like the Empire era, and I don't know.
Which, by the way, the Lando series is now going to be a movie.
Yeah, that's right.
It got changed to being a movie. So, like, there's a perfect example, though. That's they changed it. They got Donald Glover to play Lando.
Yeah,
and you already have a young Han.
You have a young Han. No matter how you got that guy who plays Luke.
No matter how much I hate him.
What, Alden Ehrenreich?
Yeah.
You didn't like Alden?
Solo. I hate Solo with a burning passion. Solo is my Star Wars Eternals.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. You cannot come back from the fact that the way Han Solo got his last name is because he went up and he was trying to get through customs, and
it's pretty terrible. That's awful. Yeah,
he goes,
that.
What's your last name? Just Han.
Solo.
He goes, are you by yourself? Yeah. Solo.
Lazy.
Nope.
Lazy.
Nope.
I won't defend that one. Not at all.
Nope.
And they had to show us them getting the gun and the Kessel Run and all this stuff.
The rest of that movie cannot be
defend Solo. I will be a Solo apologist and say that I like that movie. I think it gets better every time I watch it. And you made the comparison to Eternals. I'll say that Solo is the Aquaman of the Star Wars films. It's pretty dumb, pretty silly, but it is a fantastically fun adventure.
Valid. Okay.
That's my.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Anything else on Ahsoka episode 5?
No,
I mean, our episode is called Ahsoka the White. We haven't even touched on that at all.
I mean, badass. Honestly, I think
I like it.
Like it was. There's not a lot to say. It's literally she went through a wardrobe change, and obviously it's supposed to show that a state of mind change, but we haven't seen that yet. Like that doesn't come out till tomorrow, and if you're listening to this, it won't come out till later that night because that's Ahsoka comes out on Tuesdays. Which, by the way, we found out that Loki is going to be on Thursday nights.
That's the new normal, Tuesdays.
So now you have I guess you have Tuesday nights Star Wars, Thursday nights Marvel. I guess it's gonna be.
I guess, yeah.
So,
but throwing all the eggs in one
with that, we are gonna call it a night, folks. Thank you for another episode. Obviously, literally, it's 2 viewers, which is the 2 of us.
It's all good. We'll post this everywhere, anyways.
Let me check. Let's go check. Anchor.
I have it up, so I am one of those people. But
did we get? Yeah, I know. I have it up too, so I am also.
I didn't see any comments. So
let's see on Anchor. Did we get anybody listening to last week's episode? Hey, we got 3 plays.
Love it.
We got 3. Hell yeah, we got 3 plays. Love it. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. Hopefully we can get more people in here and just hang out and have fun. But with that, we will call it a night. And have a great rest of your week, guys.
Sounds good. Thanks for tuning in.
Set this.
The what?
I didn't reset.
Is this the part of the show where we just pretend like we're talking and?
No, we're pretending. We're talking as I'm trying to let this thing. All right, bye, guys.
You know, like how